Go ahead, Susie.
Welcome, ladies. I'm very excited to be with all of you today. And as Angie said, I have been working with people specifically in the area of health improvement, wellness, and stem cell regeneration for the last 15 years. But basically, today I'm going to be focusing on the three keys to staying healthy after 40. Because we don't have to worry about anything that happened before then. We just want to worry about how we can move forward now for the rest of our healthy, wonderful life. So there's three keys. Number one is movement. Number two is mindset. And number three, it's kind of a trifecta, nutrition, detox, and hydration. So I'll spend a few minutes talking about each one. And I was happy to hear at the beginning of this meeting that we have so many people on board here who are already actively using movement to accelerate and increase their wellness. A lot of the ladies talked about Pilates, a lot of them work out, some of them hike, walk, dance, and a whole lot more. So the reason why movement is so important is, well, first of all, a little tip that I learned, only 25% of the population in America is physically active. Now, let that sink in for a minute. Only 25%. That means only one out of every four people that you know incorporates physical activity into their health practice. That means 75% of them never even think about it. They just move from the couch to the refrigerator. Okay. And the outcome is heart disease is the leading cause of death. Heart disease. So it's not the Black Plague, it's not COVID, it's something that would be preventable. So wouldn't you think that if something is preventable, people would want to incorporate that in their life? So heart disease leads to death. And sometimes people say, oh, well, I only have high blood sugar. Oh, I only have high blood pressure. Oh, I only have high cholesterol. I only have COPD or whatever. But those are all things that exacerbate heart problems, you see. And what if you could get rid of all of those onlys so that they weren't part of your, I was going to say health, but that doesn't even sound correct. If they weren't part of your lifestyle, okay? So why health changes after 40? Well, a whole lot changes. First of all, our hormones change. And
Mhm.
when our hormones change, it affects us everything. It affects weight, it affects our skin, it affects our emotions, it affects how we feel. The emotions are a big part, and the hormones drive those. So if our hormones are not balanced in whatever way that needs to be, whether it's hormone replacement therapy or something else, a lot of people like me, had a hysterectomy, so that's another whole thing. But things are changing, and we don't have to say, oh my God, I'm getting old. No, you just say, okay, so I'm at this juncture in my life. So now what do I need to do, to change, to implement? Because doing nothing is your worst possible scenario. And another thing that changes after 40 is that we start to become full of toxins. And sometimes people don't pay too much attention to toxins because they think, well, I eat healthy, I eat salad every day, or, I take my vitamins. However, we've been subjected to toxins in our environment since we were born. Our country is very toxic, I have to say. We use more drugs and chemicals than the whole rest of the world. And it's a fact that in the European Union, they do not even allow most of the products that we sell freely in our culture. But that's why they live longer, they're more active, and they're healthier because they're not ingesting all this stuff. Another thing that's changed since the 50s, I believe, is that the prominence of fast food. When I was a little girl, fast food was pretty much unheard of. You went to grandma's house for Sunday, for a treat. Or maybe if you're on vacation, you might go out to dinner. But now people incorporate fast food into their life. And whether it's fast food from McDonald's, the French fries that last for eons, or just going down the grocery store aisles. Most of the things in your grocery store are toxic. That doesn't mean they're gonna kill you if you eat that potato chip, but if you ingest most of that stuff for most of your diet, you're putting GMO chemicals, trans fats, sugars, oils, things that we can't even pronounce. If it has more than 5 syllables, you know it wasn't created by God. So now, by this time in life, our hormones are changing. We're full of toxins. And what else starts to happen when you're full of toxins? You get inflammation. Okay, so inflammation, it's okay if you bump yourself and then, you get a little bump and then you put ice on it and it goes down because that's the body fighting off things that it has to fight. But if inflammation is chronic, what happens? Then your system gets clogged. And I explain this. Imagine your garbage disposal in your kitchen sink. And you put all the vegetable peels down there, potato peels, even if you were crazy and put down banana peels and pineapple. Well, then you push the button and what happens? Eh, nothing. Okay. So imagine our system is like this. We've been pouring toxic things, even if they don't seem toxic. It's just a French fry. It's just potato chips. It's just cheese corn and it's just artificial cheese food, like, okay. So anyway, I've been pouring all this stuff into your body for 40, 50, 60 years. Your body is just like the garbage disposal before you had to call the plumber. So everything kind of comes to a screeching halt. And then what happens? You start to get aches and pains. And people think, oh, out of the blue, lightning struck. And now I have fibromyalgia, lupus, allergies, sciatica, or whatever the case may be. And some have blood pressure problems, high cholesterol problems, heart problems, and a whole lot more. But that's all exacerbated by the toxins and the inflammation. So that's not how we're supposed to live. If you look at the Asian countries, they don't have all that toxic stuff in their diet. If you look at the European countries, they don't have all that toxic stuff in their diet. And then you add the fact that only 25% of Americans use physical activity. So look at the picture that's painted. Okay. So then the pharmaceutical industry says, oh, we have all these magical cures. You can just take this pill or that pill or this patch or this injection or some kind of magic pharmaceutical potion that they want to sell you, which has 99 different side effects. So then your body is going, oh, it doesn't know which way is up. So that's why after 40, you're subjected to all this stuff. Years of toxins, years of inflammation building up. And look at, you might have had a car accident when you were 20. You might have had, a broken arm or a broken leg when you were in high school playing sports. That doesn't matter. After all these years, the inflammation starts to build. So you think, oh my God, I did break my arm when I was 16. Why is that hurting? And this is part of the reason, toxins and inflammation. And then you got the hormone changes in there. And let's not forget stress. After you live half of a lifetime, if you're 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, or even 90, like Dr. Robbie, all this stuff has happened. So what are we supposed to do? Well, like a lot of you said, dancing, Pilates, hiking, working out. Now, that's pretty easy to do because you can just walk around the block. If you have a dog, like a lot of us do, you walk your dog around the block or you walk with your neighbor. If you live in a community, a lot of community centers have exercise classes, like I go to jazzercise, or you can go to yoga or whatever. Even if you don't want to get out of your house, your phone has all kinds of exercise apps, Tai Chi, yoga, Zumba, just about anything you want is you could exercise out of your living room without even going out in the snow and ice. Okay. besides aerobic exercise, which is so important, um, weight bearing exercise is also important because that's another thing that happens after 40. When your hormones change, you're more susceptible to osteoporosis because your bones get thinner. And then what happens? You fall, you trip over the dog's tail, or whatever the case may be, and you break a bone. And when you break a bone at our age, it's scary because sometimes you fall and you can't get up. So even just light weights like Angie goes to Pilates, it doesn't have to be 100-pound weight like a weightlifter lifting up a tire, but just, 2-pound weights or 5-pound weights that you incorporate into your lifestyle. Even working in the garden, you're thinking about it. You're carrying the big bin of leaves around or pots or, raking. All of that stuff counts as activity. So also, it lowers your blood pressure, it lowers your cholesterol, it makes your heart more functional, it supports detoxing, it supports the lymph moving, and guess what? It also boosts your energy and mood. So you get all this stuff. So just think about going from the couch to walking around outside or in the park, or better yet, if you're walking like on the beach or in a forest or something like that, that actually elevates your mind, your mood. Um, you can't feel depressed if you're walking in the outdoors in nature. Okay, so all those things. And also part of movement is stretching, okay? Because we do get stiff. If you stay in one spot for one time, you start to feel like you can't move, right? So you need to get up at least once an hour if you're working on your computer or whatever the case may be, and walk around, go get a bottle of water, or do whatever you need to do so that you're active. Now, we're supposed to work out 30 minutes a day. And some people say, oh my God, I don't have time for 30 minutes. Well, if you put it in 10-minute increments, 10 minutes after lunch, 10 minutes after dinner, and then, 10 minutes somewhere else, you can fit exercise and movement in. And that includes aerobic, stretching, or light weights, any combination. And and then you want to also put in vitamins, and we get vitamin D from the sun. They say that just walking outside in the sun every day elevates your mood, increases your vitamin D, and gives you a better feeling of overall wellness. Okay. So that's movement. Now, the next part of health that we need to incorporate is mindset. And we have a lot of coaches in our group. You know that mindset is crucial to everything. If you get up in the morning and you think, oh, it sucks to be me, I got to deal with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you're already on a downward spiral. Okay. So, how do we elevate our mindset? Well, there's tons of ways, and we're all a mind, body, and spirit connection. It's all connected. You can't say, okay, this is my body, this is my mind, this is my spirit, and they're all in different quadrants. No, we're all one unit. So, if you start out your day with prayer, a lot of people like that. Reading a Bible verse, a lot of people like that. If that's not your thing, keeping a gratitude journal. I remember when I was going through my divorce, I had a gratitude journal. And even though I was going through a rough passage, I always tried to think of at least 5 things. You can always think of 5 things. You have food for today. You have a roof over your head. You have a friend. You have a pet. You know what I mean? You have a job to go to. So even when things look like they're pitch black, when you start writing down your items of gratitude, pretty soon you get yourself out of that funk, and you think, wow, I guess it isn't so bad. You still have to deal with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but now you've given yourself a little bit of a boost, a level playing field to go forward. Okay. Journaling is great too, because whether you're feeling fabulous or you're feeling sad, worried, depressed, or whatever the case, when you journal it out, that gets it like out of your guts, so to speak, onto the paper. And then later on, whether it's tomorrow, next week, 6 months later, you look and go, wow, look at all these things that I was dealing with. And then on a spiritual plane, you go, look what God helped me with. you see. So there's all these things that we're elevating ourselves. Oh, another thing, don't immerse yourself in negativity. So don't turn on the news because that's like bad juju. Okay. Don't listen to social media, people bragging about blah, 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 or complaining about blah, blah, blah. You know, that's going to make you bring down. But if you put on inspirational music, a Bible verse, a lot of people like to have a verse or a mantra or a intention that they say and they put it on their mirror every day. That also is elevating. All these things are elevating your spirit. And think about it, you know that emotional and spiritual energy is real because you can go into a room and the room lights up. When you're there, you're bringing good, positive energy. Also, you might have seen some down Debras that come into the room and it's like, nobody wants to talk to that person because they suck the oxygen out of the room, right? So you want to make sure, especially when you're going out to a function, a group, a network, or whatever, even if you're just going out to, walk the dog with your neighbor, you want to make sure that your energy is elevated. So I just gave you lots of tips to do that. Okay. Besides that, it also calms your body. When your spirit is elevated, your body's elevated because you're not like, ugh. And also, it lessens the cortisol. Cortisol is the hormone, that's the fight or flight hormone. Like, oh, I know. A picture to me of the fight or flight instinct is there's a movie 100 years ago was Gone with the Wind. Some of you might have heard of it. And there's a scene where Butterfly McQueen is worried because the Yankees are about to attack. So she's going, the Yankees is coming, the Yankees is coming. So to me, people that are always worried and always in their head and they're always thinking about everything bad that can happen, well, what's happening? Your blood pressure's raising, your heart's racing, your cortisol emotions are just going everywhere. You're under stress, and stress creates dis-ease, disease. Okay, so it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out that if you're immersed in stress over long periods of time, people get sick. So then they go to they said the doctor said I have sinus headaches or migraine headaches because it's from stress, or they say I have sciatica from stress, or they have ulcers from stress. Well, what's the common denominator? Stress, you see? So mindfulness is one of the tools you have to de-stress. The world is still going crazy out there, but in your own head, you have to have some kind of a balance that you're not plugged into all that and you're elevating yourself, even if you're just by yourself. You're taking yourself out of that miry clay onto solid ground. Okay, and I want to say something else about toxins. I talked about McDonald's and fried French fries and all that stuff, and the toxins that are in the middle of the grocery store on the boxes, bags, and packages. But we never think about that toxins are in our environment. They're sprayed all over the grass. I have a client in Texas. They actually spray stuff in the air down in Amarillo, and she can see the particles on the snow. So you know that bad things are happening in the air. When I was a little girl, they used to have a plane go down over the farm field, which was nearby, and it would spray out all this toxic, I don't know, insecticide, bug killer, or whatever the heck it was on the food, right? So anyway, and then think about it, air fresheners, people plug in these air fresheners, isn't that nice? No, those are all chemicals that you're breathing. Or then you put a dryer sheet in your laundry and you think, oh, what a nice smell. No, then your skin is absorbing all those toxins on the clothes you wear, on the pillows that you sleep on. You see what I'm saying? You didn't even know you were doing something bad, but your body knows. Your body's smart. It has intelligence. So it knows. It's kind of like he knows when you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. You know what I mean? That was Santa, but your body is kind of like that. So you can't trick it. Don't try to act like everything's all good and it doesn't matter. So if you want to smell good things, you can smell things from essential oils because they're not harmful. They come from nature, like lavender and eucalyptus and oranges and apple blossoms and stuff, things that are made out of nature, whether candles, sprays, lotions, and a whole lot more. They're not going to make your body go crazy. Okay. Uh, Food sensitivities. You know what? When I was getting my nails done yesterday, my nail person said, "Wow, I just found out that I'm allergic to nuts and gluten and blah blah blah." Sometimes your digestion might not be working for you, and you can have a food sensitivity that you didn't even know of you know so you have to be aware of that too. You have to look at all these pieces and see, like, which part of my health do I need to investigate and work on. And don't say, oh my god, you had ABC. It doesn't matter if you've always had it. You can still make a choice to do better in a little tiny thing. Maybe, get rid of the dryer sheets, or get rid of the plug-in thing, or, don't eat the McDonald's French fries. But you see, you don't have to go, whoo, I'm doing everything wrong. No, you can make one little thing that is doable. And then once you've done that, it's like, whoa, now I have dryer balls in my dryer instead of dryer sheets. So yay for me, right? Now I don't have aspartame and stuff in all of my drinks. Yay for me. Just little tiny changes. Because all of that stuff elevates inflammation and it's toxic. And then the last part is about nutrition, detox, and water. Okay, so everybody knows we're supposed to drink water, but we're actually supposed to drink half of our body weight. So if you weigh 100 pounds, that's 50 ounces of water, which is approximately 4 bottles, 16 ounces times 4 is 48. So you can just do the math. But some people say, well, I don't like water. Well, you don't have to drink plain water because you can put in fruit, lemons, oranges, cucumbers, mint, and a whole lot more. You can also have sparkling water. So no matter what it is, we do need to hydrate, and you can get it in your broth, in your lemonade, in your tea. Okay. But you have to be careful not to have the artificial sugar and all that other stuff that comes in a little package. Okay. We have to add more fiber because if we don't have enough fiber in our diet, then it's just like the picture of the garbage disposal where nothing goes down and everything is stuck. So you might have to incorporate fiber or probiotics or other things that your body needs. And that also brings us to the point of nutrition and food supplements, which Kay is an expert on, because if your body does not have the building blocks you need, and all you're eating is red dye number 3 and French fries, you're not going to have the building blocks to build something healthy. And we know we have to take calcium and magnesium and vitamin D and zinc if you don't want to get sick and all that stuff. So you have to make sure that you are incorporating them, whether in fresh foods or supplements, as the case may be. Okay, now I talked about detox because it clogs up our system. But how do you detox? Well, one way is this little patch, which I can tell you about on another time frame. But if your system does not detox, we're bathing in that toxic soup. So you can detox by sweating, by working out, by getting a massage, moving the lymph, going to a sauna. All these things can help the body to detox. So remember, garbage in, garbage out. Um, oh, and another thing, people say, well, all I want to do is lose weight. But guess what? Toxins bind to fat. So, not surprisingly, if you eliminate toxins, you're also going to have greater ease reducing your weight. And I'm not into weight loss diets or anything like that. You have to take a holistic approach. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm going to fast for 10 days and then I'm going to be good. No, You have to look at the whole picture. Am I getting the right nutrition? Am I hydrated, or do I hate water and I just drink coffee and beer and wine? And so you got to detox, you got to hydrate, you got to put in all the good stuff and try to limit the bad things. Now, of course, when you're traveling, when you're celebrating, you want to be able to have a clear conscience and not beat yourself up because you had a piece of cake or a glass of wine or, French fries or whatever the case may be, but it's the daily consistency that either helps you or hinders you. Like in the exercise thing, you don't have to go to the gym for an hour a day. Nobody has the time, okay? But 30 minutes a day, you can work in 10-minute increments, okay? You don't have to never ever have a Diet Coke ever if you have it for your birthday or something, but try to drink like water, things that don't have aspartame and all that kind of chemical stuff so that you're not pouring it into your body. And then do something to detox because if you don't detox it, think about that garbage disposal. Everybody's going to go home with that picture of, do I want my body to be a garbage disposal before the plumber came? The answer is no. But if you don't do anything to make sure that the system is flushed out, water is flushing it out, fiber is flushing it out, reducing chemicals and toxins is going to make it easier for the bad stuff to go out. You're also going to lower your blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, and all that stuff because you're decreasing the toxins, you're decreasing the inflammation, and you're increasing the hydration. And speaking of toxins, prescriptions are also very toxic. And our country is very pharmacentric. Big pharma rules the roost in this country, not in other countries, only in USA. And so toxins build up in your body, and you might say, oh, well, I have to take ABC because I have high blood pressure, cholesterol, allergies, diabetes, fibromyalgia, lupus, and a whole lot more. Well, the good news is you don't have to do that because, as I discovered in 2009, when I used this little product, my body started to detoxing. It took a month, but at the end of the month, I got rid of all my arthritis pain and all my allergies that I had for 30 years. So that just proves that when you remove the bad things, flush it out with a big giant garden hose, then the body can reset to a new level. So no matter what age you are, if you're over 40, over 50, or, like Robbie, almost 90, you can still take little steps to help yourself. And you have to remember movement, mindset, and what you put in the food, what you take out, the toxins, and what you flush with the water. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. For my free gift, I am going to give you a QR code to a health assessment, a 10-point health assessment, which if you put your email, I'll email you the QR code, and then you can book a 30-minute free Zoom with me, and we can discuss ways that you can make healthy lifestyle better for you. And as I say, it doesn't have to be a giant leap. Little tiny increments of adding pieces to your health picture can have giant dividends. So, does anybody have any questions or comments? You can tell me your favorite way to move. Who would like to say their favorite way to move?
Yeah, Susie, Lauren has questions.
Okay, Lauren.
So I just have a quick question because I'm all about like peace and tranquility. So what about like burning candles and like I have this thing. It's very cool. It's like a little thing that plugs into the wall and has a little dish and I put like lavender in it or vanilla. Like, are there certain oils that are better that not toxic and certain
Yeah, and I think
candles?
I think Grace can inform us on that, right, Grace? because she's an expert with essential oils. That's a great
Oh.
question, because I think back in the day, we thought that anything that had a scent in it was good.
Yeah.
But that's not true, because back in the day, they made everything with chemicals. I even have a little spray bottle in my cabinet, and when you spray it in the bathroom, it doesn't, it's supposed to be scented, right? But it smells toxic to me, because now I'm more aware of that. But you can get candles that are made out of essential oils. You can use essential oils for like I have one in my kitchen, a little thing that you plug in, and you
Right.
put a few drops of essential
Yeah.
oil in it. Now it's putting out healthy fragrance with no chemicals in it. And I know Grace is an expert on that, so she can go into detail. But that's a good question, because just because we got it doesn't mean it's any good anymore, because the whole thinking is different. Remember, people used to spray the bathroom with all that toxic stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Jill has a question, Susie.
Yes, Jill.
Thank you, Susie. Awesome information, and I posted in the chat. Very doable. You made it so simple. Thank you.
Right. Try to make it simple. Thank you.
Yes, that was awesome. And here's my question. I walk into hotel rooms, I can hardly stand the smell. I, stopped using toxic things in my home as much as possible, but I really notice when I go to public places, I'm having a harder time in hotel rooms, in
Mhm.
people's cars. Sometimes if they got that or
That
rent a
little thing
cars.
that, yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
little
little
thing
thing.
that hangs down.
Yeah. So what can I do? I open all the windows in the hotel room, but if I walk into someone's car, I don't want to be like mean and go, oh my God,
I know, right, right.
what do I do? What do I
Carry my
do?
portable oxygen with me. Well, the thing is, it is a toxic environment out there. The only thing you can do is protect yourself. That's why, to me, this is the best thing since sliced bread, because those toxins are going into us 24/7, right? So unless we're in a little bubble or a spacesuit, like those people that work in labs, you know what I mean, and everything is
Right.
covered up, you're going to still breathe that stuff. But if you use this little thing, which you can find out more about, offline, that will take the toxins out of your body. So instead of the being in there, you might have to go out in the world, but you are not still of the world. Does that make sense?
Yes. Well,
So
I
it's
have
not get overloaded.
yes, and I have X39s with me, and I usually wear it a
Oh,
little bit below my belly button. Is that the right place?
yeah, but you need to add glutathione.
Okay.
Check it out.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Makes a
Thank you.
big difference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I
Okay.
know we passed the time, and I'm gonna stop here.